Welcome back to From My Living Room to Yours. Today I want to talk about one of my personal spiritual practices, which is tithing. Tithing is a practice of giving back to God the first fruits of our harvest. I'm not sure why 10% became the amount of a tithe, but I'm guessing 10% is just enough to make us a little uncomfortable by having to let it go, and yet plenty for us to meet the rest of our needs. When I think of it from that perspective, that after I share my 10% with God, I still have 90% of my income left, that balance seems more than fair. I didn't always practice tithing. When I first started pledging to my church home, I was still just considering whether I'd become a priest or not, and I decided to make the big leap of pledging $25 a month. I thought that was more than enough. I'm guessing I sort of thought that the church had other places from which they received income. As your rector, I can assure you we don't. We have to raise every penny that we spend. And looking back, I feel a little regretful as I remember that I was perfectly willing to drop $25, $30 a meal at restaurants 2 to 3 times a week, but I wasn't willing to give even that same amount to my church. After all, I rationalized, I work hard, I deserved to be treated, and I had things like student loans to pay off. Well, I still do. But back then, my discerning about how to pledge was based on this process. I'd add up all my bills that I knew about. I'd add in what I expected to use for fun, for travel, that kind of thing. And then basically designate the balance to my pledge. The more my faith deepened and matured, however, the more I realized giving God what was left over didn't feel all that great. God doesn't give me leftovers, so I decided to change that. And over the course of the last 12 years or so, I steadily increased the percentage on the amount I was pledging each year. As your rector, I want you to know that I now give 11% of my annual salary back to the church every year. I do this because I believe in the mission of St. Andrew's and all that we accomplish, both for our community and in our parish family. And I do it because of how it makes me feel, knowing that I am indeed giving the first fruits to God. I realize not everyone can tithe 10%, but I want to challenge you to consider increasing your percentage by 1 or 2% this year. Pray about that. Let God guide you into acknowledging the bounty of God's harvest in your faith community. In the meantime, blessings on your week. And remember, be humble, be grateful, be kind.